Hello and welcome to elementary school. This is lesson 1.2.2, the things they don't teach you in school. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of true wealth and your attitude to life. These lessons are taken from your back office and are provided by Andrey Khovratov. I am Ainslie and I am your narrator. Now, in the last podcast, we did talk about the fundamentals of wealth. And we looked at the 5 fingers on your hand, the little finger, the ring finger, the middle finger, the index finger and the thumb. And in each of these lessons, we're going through explaining to you how they relate. The little finger was, of course, your well-being. And today's lesson, the ring finger, is all about your attitude to life. If you want to become wealthy, you have to make your attitude towards life work for you. Make decisions based on analysis. Such decisions pave your road to success. Our life consists of black and white days. I often hear people say it. When my grandmother tied saved change in a sock, she would always murmur, "It is for a rainy day." Obviously, we cannot change what already happened. Bankruptcy, being recently fired, loss of a substantial amount of money or a dear one, catastrophic events such as global, economic or ecological disasters are examples of events we cannot do anything about but worry. Now it is important to change your attitude towards life and face such problems differently. Imagine a sail of a yacht in open waters. It is your attitude. All you have to do is catch the right winds with the sail, and your sail will take you towards your goals. Believe it or not, it is exactly how it works in the real life. Take a look around. Are the winds of change blowing exceptionally strong? Are those winds related to political, economical, or social changes? Knowing the ways we can catch those winds and ability to manipulate the sail dictates our success in the sea of life. Changing our attitude towards a problem will change the outcome in a way that you never thought possible. Majority is relying on emotion to be the drivers of their lives. And in lesson 7, which is called Productive State is the Fuel for Your Time Machine, we will talk about it in more detail. But now, let us understand how emotions do us disservice and why we should not rely on them when making a decision. Imagine a mother at a mall with a 3-year-old kid is talking to her friend. It was a very long conversation and the kid wet himself. Mother could react in 2 different ways. First scenario, she could get very angry with the kid and spank him because he embarrassed her in front of a friend. Second scenario, she could take him away, change his pants, ask why this happened, and remain calm. How would you react? What attitude would you have? I once witnessed the exact same situation, and a young mother was spanking her son because he wet himself and blemished her image of a perfect mother. Her child was crying and the mother was yelling. Imagine what did she do to her child and the people surrounding her. I hope later on she did realize what happened that day. Maybe her conscience bothered her and she concluded that she was very unfair to her child. And at that very moment, however, her attitude was the way it was. She could not handle her emotion and let the emotions control her life. I felt bad for the child, but it already happened. What would you do in the same situation? How would you take it when a passing by car would splash water all over you from a nearby puddle? What would you do if you lost €100,000? How would your relation to a friend change if he or she borrowed money and never gave it back? What would you do if your own child did not do well in school and got bad grades? These are the scenarios where something has happened already and there is no way you could change the events. All we can do is learn from these situations and change our attitude and our reactions. Your child has wet himself. So what? At least he did not go number 2. Lost hundreds of thousands. Much better than losing $1 million. I could have let my emotions drive me, but I did not. I was on my way to Germany where I had planned to buy a car. And at the customs, the money I had had been confiscated. 60,000 US dollars, which I never declared. I have spent 36 hours at the customs. The customs officer kept telling me, "You are lucky you are not in a cell and you sit here in relative comfort." They were right. There was nothing I could have done. I kept telling myself, whatever is happening for good. Why should I be nervous about something that I had no power to change? During the currency default of 1998, one of my friends had lost over 1 million US dollars. He was in the state of despair and deep depression. He kept saying that his life is ruined and he has nothing left to live for. Our mutual friend then asked him, "What exactly did you lose? Is it the lost money you were crying about? If it is your reason of your depression, then calm yourself down. When a crisis like this strikes, everyone is losing. Take a look around. Do you see what is surrounding you? Look at the weather. Sun's still shining. You are in one piece. You have a lovely wife and great kids and excellent relatives. You are still wealthy, and if you were able to earn 1 million once, you could do it again and again and again. If you will perish, though, you will hurt all these great people that surround you. Money is just paper. Never forget that." During the financial crisis of 1998, I have lost money, as well as did the others like me. It wasn't $1 million, a much smaller amount, but I did lose it, and it hurt. I was upset. Those words, however, resonated in my head. Our friend was right. You've lost money. You've lost paper. In reality, even if you are broke today, you are not poor. The poor one is the one who has poverty as his state of mind. Set your mind towards wealth and you will become rich. It is all about your attitude towards those lemons our life likes to give us. Your neighbours are annoying you. No problem. Now you are motivated to buy yourself a private house. Don't have enough money? Don't worry. There are plenty of money in the world. When you will apply the tools available in the Private Investor Academy, you will have plenty of funds available to your disposal. Just get your attitude towards surrounding problems straight. What do I mean by that? It's a trivial task. Act in such a way that you won't ruin your life. Imagine you are being fined every time you get nervous or anxious. A fine equals to 5 years of your life. It is 5 years out of 100 we are supposed to live. That is a substantial amount of time to be wasted. You have to keep calm no matter what obstacle or hardship is in your way. Keep your head cool. It's an Eastern saying. I can't think about that right now. If I do, I'll go crazy. I think about that tomorrow, said Scarlett. It is my favourite quote from Gone with the Wind movie. This is how Scarlett O'Hara reacted to the news of her mother's death. I'll say it again. I can't think about that right now. If I do, I'll go crazy. I'll think about it tomorrow. When we are calm, our mind stays sharp. Every day we train ourselves to make right attitude towards 1, different situations, 2, yourself, the most important person of them all. Are you surprised? Who is the most important person in your life, without whom you would not exist? You, that is you. You have to love yourself more than you do others. You might think such an attitude is a bit egocentric. Well, I disagree with such a point of view. The more you love yourself, the more you will be able to love others and spread your love. There is a great quote from a Russian movie, Wolfhound. Our world is ruled by love. If the world is ruled by love and you are part of it, then you have to love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more love there would be to give to others. And number 3, love the world around you. It is harder than it seems. Some time ago, I've read about an interesting experiment, the results of which astonished me. A group of people were asked to express negative emotions in a room full of flowers. Every negative emotion they were experiencing had to be shared with the flowers. The group was swearing and cursing at someone they knew in front of these flowers. The experiment was repeated every day and the flowers were cursed for an entire month. At the end of the month, almost all of the flowers were dead and dry. According to the records, some even died within the first few days of the experiment. Others faded slower, but most of them were gone by the end of the experiment. The study shows how negative attitude changes environment and harms living things around us. In conclusion of the experiment, it is seen that the more negative emotions we experience, the more harm is caused. A negative person is a threat to your well-being. Here is a little story about thoughts, and though not expressed verbally, having a tremendous effect on others. One day, a man from an emergency room was transferred to an intensive care ward. There was a window in the opposite corner of the room, and there was a bed with a patient in it. The person in the bed by the window was using his beneficiary position and looked at the window all the time. He would then describe what was going on behind the glass pane. The lucky patient described the park that he saw, the spring, the blooming of the flowers, and how green everything was. He saw people and how much joy did the spring bring them. He saw a mother and her 2 kids playing, running around full of joy. There was an elderly couple. They were holding each other's hands. They looked happy and cheerful. And there was a young couple kissing and holding hands. Just like the others, the man by the window was recovering from a surgery. He couldn't walk, but he could see everything happening in the window right from his bed. The other patients were actively discussing what was going on behind the window. Everybody wanted to get to that park and walk on the grass and listen to the cheerful sounds of chirping birds. That's how the days went in the ward. During the night, patients would sleep, slowly recovering, and by day they would discuss and listen to the stories of the patient closest to the window. The patient by the door did not like the man by the window and was jealous of his place. Thinking that his life could be over in any moment, he wanted to see those cheerful moments himself. And during one of the nights, the patient by the door woke up hearing some kind of noise. The man by the window was delirious. The man by the door did not pay any attention and fell asleep. And in the morning, everybody noticed that the bed by the window was vacant. Patients asked a nurse, "Where did the man by the window go?" The nurse replied that sadly, there was complication after the surgery, and the man died last night. The new guy asked to be placed by the window. The patient was anxious to finally look at the wonderful world. He was the second he got to his new bed. He could see nothing but a brick wall from that window. Be careful what you think about. Negative thoughts harm others. Let's get back to the laboratory experiment with flowers mentioned earlier. There was a second group and another room with flowers. Flowers in this room were not treated well and seldom watered. The participants of the second group shared love and spread positive emotions. Kind words were said to flowers as if they were dearest people. And after a month of such treatment, scientists concluded that these flowers were mostly revived. Many have blossomed, their leaves were greener than before, and after a few more scientists were astonished by the results of the experiment. It turned out cell structure of these flowers had changed, and it looked like these flowers had been reborn. The flower experiment proves the following. 1. Negative attitude towards life will harm a person and his surroundings. And 2. Positive attitude revives and creates. Looking at the examples, we can now say that it is important to set your attitude according to a situation. Also, we've talked about how the world around us should be treated by us. And as a reminder, you have to love yourself like you love no one else. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about the middle finger and your emotions. I look forward to sharing with you in the next podcast.